The long-awaited merger of the most terrifying figure in the future timeline has now happened, and with the combined powers of Goku Black and the leadership and immortality of Zamasu, our heroes are now faced with an impending danger that they themselves may not have the strength to battle, or do they? Spawning an adversary who may prove quite difficult to defeat head-on, so we may see something more than what's being said and shown in this particular episode as we move on forward towards the conclusion of this arc. What's going on, Dragon Ball Super fans? Welcome to my Dragon Ball Super episode 65 review and breakdown entitled Final Judgment, the Supreme God's Ultimate Power, leading into Dragon Ball Super episode 66. And again, guys, keep in mind this video will contain massive amounts of spoilers, so in case you guys don't want the episode ruined for you, go watch the episode and come back so we can talk more Dragon Ball Super down in the comment section below. If you guys are not subscribed to this channel, then make sure you guys hit that subscribe button on your way out of this video for daily Dragon Ball content alongside many other videos as well. Make sure to follow me at Twitter at UnrealEntGaming. This episode was such a fantastic episode, especially having to see the struggle of both Goku and Vegeta. Now, in case some of you guys are wondering about Merge Zamasu's power and how strong he truly is, I would have to say that he hasn't displayed any sort of great feats of power in this episode, so we're gonna have to wait and see what happens. Of course, a lot of us are expecting to see Vegeta and stuff. There is still time to provide him in this arc. I don't think it's too late to see Vegeta, at least as of right now, but given the spoilers that we got from Dragon Ball Super episode 66, that may happen, that may not happen. It's up in the air right now, but of course, this episode started off exactly right where we left off, with the merger being completed and Goku and Vegeta and Trunks having to look up in awe as to seeing this ultimate being having to come about. And Zamasu again kept bragging about his power, he kept bragging about justice, he kept bragging about how perfect he was, and it actually reminded me a lot of Cell, the way he was gloating and stuff, but you have to understand where he's coming from. He has the powers of Goku Black and the immortality of Zamasu, so he is pretty strong. So, but even regardless of that, I'm gonna get right into the episode preview. Next week, ladies and gentlemen, we have Vegeta fighting the final form of Zamasu. Now, this is groundbreaking to the core, and the reason why I say it is because we see how Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta is finally a thing, and we also get to see how Zamasu also has somewhat of an evolution. Now, what I mean by that is we see how there's this version of Zamasu that we've never seen before. He looks very demonic in stature, and towards the end of the preview, we see how Vegeta is struggling with Zamasu. So our wish has been granted, guys. We finally have Vegeta. Legitimately, this is the most epic thing I think I've ever seen, because of the sole fact that we've thought that Vegeta wasn't going to be a thing in Dragon Ball Super, and we all thought that Goku was going to be the one to unleash a devastating attack, but it looks like Vegeta is going to fight final form Zamasu, which is going to be groundbreaking, because in the episode preview, we see how, Vegeta is throwing shots against Zamasu, and these two are leveling the entire city. Perhaps maybe now we finally have someone here who is on par with Vegeta, because both of them were beating the crap out of each other. So the episode starts off, as I said earlier, with Zamasu pretty much gloating about his power, about his beauty, and even summoning this phoenix behind him that managed to pretty much wipe out the entire city. Goku and Vegeta, in their attempts to stop this person, in their attempts to, pretty much stop Zamasu from unleashing all of this, they get put in their place, as we see how strong Zamasu's fusion is, and we see how Zamasu summons these little lightning strikes onto the ground called the Spears of Judgment, and what they're able to do is that they're able to pretty much explode, very similar to when Goku Black stabbed Goku and he blew him into a bunch of pieces when he was fighting him back in episode 63 and stuff. So we see how Zamasu is unleashing absolute chaos upon them, and neither Goku or Vegeta could do anything to stop this person. So we see towards the very middle of the episode how they're starting to lose ground. We see how Zamasu begins to push everyone back with his attacks, and we see how pretty much it's not even safe to be on the surface, because there was a human being that managed to run above on the surface, and he pretty much got disintegrated by Zamasu's power. A really interesting note here to talk about is the time ring. Now, Zamasu does have the time ring. Of course, looking at the upcoming episode, this version of Zamasu and the one that we're about to see coming up next week are two very totally different Zamasus. One of the Zamasus, of course, is the one that we see now, and the other Zamasu is like purple. He looks like a freak. He looks like a monster, and we see how Vegeta is, you know, throwing blows against him. But even in this episode, we see how he's able to have the time ring on his hand. So in case anyone's wondering what the Ring of Light actually is, it's not the time ring. So that can just be completely disregarded right there. So he does have the time ring. However, we see how he's not really using it yet. So we see how he's also unleashing somewhat of a sphere of destruction / supernova with two of his fingers, very similar to when Frieza destroyed planet Vegeta with, and he uses that sometime during the middle of the episode against Trunks. Now, Trunks was pretty much ordered by Vegeta to get his mom and Mai to safety because at a certain point in the beginning, it just wasn't safe to be anywhere near the battlefield. We saw how it just wasn't safe to be anywhere near Zamasu because he was destroying literally everything. And of course, we see how Trunks comes back, and everybody that's underground is beginning to flee and leave, and Yajirobe needs to take them to a much better place, a much safer location, because it seems as if the location that they're at right now is just a very unsafe place for anyone to be at the moment because of Zamasu's attacks. And we see how instantly Zamasu was able to take down Goku. He took down Vegeta, and even to the point where Zamasu created this purple-like phoenix behind him. That phoenix was able to create a lot of damage, including knocking Vegeta and Goku out, you know, both at the exact same time out of their Super Saiyan Blue forms with whatever, you know, lightning strike it had. So, but then we see how Goku and Vegeta try to turn the tides, and they begin to strike the Phoenix down, and they broke the Phoenix that Zamasu had, but that had little to no effect on Zamasu's powers. And we see how afterwards, we see how he unleashes more of these, you know, Spear of Judgment-like attacks on Goku and Vegeta, and they go down, and Trunks arrives on the scene to pretty much back everyone up, and we see how Trunks vows to destroy Zamasu, you know, towards the end of this, even sacrificing his own life to do so, but Zamasu doesn't really care, and he unleashes this giant supernova-like blast, and we see how Trunks pushes it back with the Gallic Gun, but then the Gallic Gun is not enough because he knows for a fact that Trunks does not have the power to combat this being by himself. So we see how Vegeta steps in, and Vegeta unleashes a massive Gallic Gun-like attack that pushes this giant, you know, sphere of destruction / supernova back towards Zamasu. And even while it hits Zamasu, he doesn't die. He doesn't die at all. He's still there, but he's very angry. And he unleashes this, you know, lightning strike attack that, you know, hits Vegeta. Vegeta goes down, and Vegeta is inactive right now. Vegeta is immobile, and we see how Trunks is pretty much the only person here that can stand up against Zamasu, and Zamasu is getting ready to kill everybody until Goku shows up, and Goku says, you know, I will do everything it takes to destroy your Ring of Light. And Zamasu charges, you know, up his power, and he launches this giant sphere at Goku, and Goku begins to push it back. It's kind of like a stalemate thing going on here, until the very end where we see this giant flash erupt and the episode cuts off. And then, ladies and gentlemen, as I said in the beginning of the video, we have Vegeta, and I'm going to be doing a live stream tonight, guys, talking about, you know, everything that's going to transpire in next week's episode. Of course, I want to know your feedback on this because I really wonder how this actually happened and how exactly they fused. And if in fact Gowasu was the one to give him the earrings, because at this point we saw in this episode how Gowasu and the Supreme Kai were talking about how they wanted to help but they didn't really know how. So I mean, it's nostalgia purposes to see how awesome, you know, next week's episode is going to be, because we see how, you know, Vegeta, out of all people, everyone thought it's going to be Gogeta. I said it, guys, for weeks on end, that the most probable cause of a fusion showing up would be the fusion of using the Potara earrings. So we see how Vegeta knuckles up against this unknown enemy. We don't know what kind of version Zamasu is at this point. We don't know if this is his final form. I mean, I'm pretty sure this is Zamasu's final form, because there's no way in hell that Zamasu is going to be presented with this being like a secondary or third form. I'm pretty sure this is Zamasu's final form, and we see how he knuckles up against Vegeta, and even Vegeta, as strong as he is towards the very end, of course, we see how Vegeta's on top, and he has his hand over his throat, but Vegeta is also struggling here, so it's really hard to say what's gonna happen. But we see Vegeta powering up, and he looks a little different as well, and what I'm really curious on as to how strong they are going up against Zamasu's final form fusion. This is going to be the be-all, end-all, and as I said before, if anything, the Mafuba jar might be played into a factor, as Trunks might be the one to seal him off here, but either way, once Vegeta came into the picture, guys, I nearly lost my shit. So the overall episode, guys, looking at the breakdown, we noticed that, you know, Zamasu's aura is also a little different. It's white. Now I don't know if that really indicates his strength or if the Ring of Light behind him is his true power, but we don't see that in the upcoming episode because of one of two reasons. Either A, Goku actually managed to destroy the Ring of Light, thus not allowing Zamasu to have it anymore, or if in fact the Ring of Light is destroyed, then I think what's strange about Zamasu is the fact that he himself begins to evolve because of the Ring of Light being destroyed. But either way, we get to observe that he does have the time ring. He does have, you know, the powers of Goku Black, as he's able to increase in power, as seen in the episode preview when he's fighting Vegeta, because Vegeta at this point is on a very different level compared to anyone else. But either way, the episode preview showcases in what will be possibly the greatest battle in Dragon Ball Super thus far, because it's going to be a back and forth struggle, because you see that in this particular preview as Vegeta and Zamasu are literally like going right through the entire city. They're fighting right through buildings, and what's really cool here to note is the fact that when Vegeta powers up, we see the blue aura around him, we see the blue hair, we see the earrings, and then we see Zamasu. Zamasu seems to have like this, like just pure evil rage inside of him, and we see how everyone else is shocked to see how, you know, Zamasu is getting pushed back, and even more so Vegeta is getting more so pushed back a little bit as well. But let me know your thoughts down below, guys. It's gonna be a monumental fight going into next week's episode, guys. Leave your thoughts below. Once again, guys, thank you all for watching. If you guys are excited for next week's episode, make sure you guys punch that like button square in the face. If you guys are stoked that Vegeta is finally coming, guys, let me know down below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, tune in for the prediction and live stream later tonight, guys, and I'll be seeing you all later. Take it easy. Vegeta hype. Peace!